Hello and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick, and joining me equally as always is Devon.
I was so tempted to be like, so you want to be a big shark just because I've been binging Deltarune, but it makes no sense today.
It does make no sense today because this is not something we're talking about today. Today we're talking about, well, it's a little bit of a grab bag of things that we've seen out in the world. We're talking about reboots,
This
remakes,
isn't a grab
remasters.
bag, it's a top 5.
It's a top 5, my bad. Yeah, it's a top 5. Yeah, the grab bag is completely different. I'm silly. Yes, we're doing a top 5 of reboots, rehashes, relaunches, things that started over again. Most memorable. They don't have to be good.
Yes, we needed to specify that, partly because I think we were both making our list individually. I can't remember which one of us broached the topic, because this was a while ago we were discussing this, where we just went, should we change it to memorable? You know, something that's really good or something that stands out, because I'm actually struggling to think of 5 good ones.
Yep. Well, I'm skewed more towards things that are, generally enjoyable.
Oh, I'm not.
But before we get too far into that, we got the good old time-honored tradition of the nonsense asinine hypotheticals. What have you got for me today?
Congratulations, Rick. You have purchased your first ever home. The catch is, you discover not too long after moving in that it's actually built atop a mine which holds a vast fortune. The fortune is cursed. You know it's cursed, but you don't know what the curse is. What do you do with it?
Ooh, the fortune is cursed. There are worse things in the world than death. I think I would not use it unless I was really desperate. So I would sit upon my mine.
That's incredibly vague.
Yes, I would sit upon my mine, not delve into the cursed fortune. Basically, I don't want to end up cursed like the Pirates of the Caribbean guys and unable to kill myself. If it makes me too immortal to be able to enjoy life. We don't know what the curse does. It could be as simple as it raises your sodium levels by 1.1%.
For you, that's quite dangerous.
Weirdly enough, I'm like Johnny Vegas, who he looks like Johnny Vegas, and everyone just assumes he's diabetic. He's not. Like, I'm the same thing for high blood pressure.
Well, here's the thing. You know what I look like, Rick. I have neither high blood pressure nor diabetes. Touch wood.
Yeah. So,
it's one of those.
As a rotund person, it's weird that I have this normal blood pressure.
Well, it's really weird. But I say really weird. I remember when my nan was still around. Sorry, my Mingy, I should say. She had low blood sugar and blood pressure, and the doctor just said, "Okay, so what I want you to do." She actually got prescribed Walkers.
Yeah.
Not actually a prescription, but she was told, okay, so your pantry, fill it with crisps.
Yeah, if you feel faint, probably need a bit of salt. Yeah.
But yeah, no, the curse is a dangerous curse. It's not just it's going to be a curse that inconveniences you more than not at all.
Yeah. I'm guessing that the curse is going to be more of a big deal. So I'm going to try not to use the fortune, but if it comes down to, I don't know, I need it to save some lives of my loved ones, then that's when I'm going to have to delve into it.
So your solution is, I'm going to ignore it.
Yeah, I'm going to ignore it, but it's a temptation there for future. It's not using it for me, but I might have to use it for someone else. How about you? Okay. What would you do with a similar home, a similar mine, and a similar unknown curse on the similar treasure?
Well, here's the thing, Rick, is I'm not... I know some people roll their eyes and scoff when people say this, but I don't really care about money. I want a home. That's my ambition in life. If I could ever had enough money to own a home, I'd be quite content. So what I'd do is I would find someone who's greedy enough to want this gold mine or whatever, precious jewels, whatever the fortune is. I didn't specify. The mine of an unspecified fortune. I would find someone who is greedy and wants that cash. I'd be honest with them and I'd tell them, listen, it is cursed. I don't know what this curse does, but there's a fortune here, and I assume it would make the price of this property skyrocket. So, or at least, increase a bit to the point where, I'd make more money for selling it than I did expended buying it. I'd be like, listen, I'm willing willing to sell this for XXX to someone who is incredibly greedy, and they'd be like, I'll roll a dice on what this curse is. It's probably not that bad, so I'd make more money and buy a house without a cursed mine.
I like that answer. So you're selling the house as a cursed loot box.
Again, I need to stress this. I would be entirely honest about, there's a fortune under here. You get that with the property. It is cursed. I don't know what the curse is.
Yeah. So yes, it's kind of like an inverse loot box. You know exactly what you're getting. You just don't know what the percentage chances are. It's not on the reward. It's on the cost.
Yeah, the debuff, as it were.
Yeah.
That's my solution. I will admit, I did have more time to think about this than you did.
Sure. But I like that one. I like the answer especially, yeah. My question for you is also a question of a curse.
Oh dear.
There is a hat of cursed knowledge.
Oh dear.
When you put on the hat,
Shit.
the hat will answer any question, but in response to doing so, it gives you it in the form of a literally blinding headache that lasts for 24 hours as you get your answer. Do you use it?
And it definitely goes away after 24 hours.
Yes, the headache goes away after 24 hours, and it can be used as many times as is necessary. And the cursed knowledge is true as far as the hat is aware.
Okay. So there's no bias that the hat will be playing.
The hat is not biased. If you ask it something to which there is no answer, it will tell you there is no answer.
And you still get the headache.
You get a shorter headache.
You get a shorter headache.
If there is no answer, you get a shorter headache.
I would use it once.
Okay.
There's one question I would ask, and I don't know if it's the most pleasant of questions, but it needs to be asked.
The what happens after?
Oh, I don't care about that, no. I'm confident I know what happens after, and if I'm wrong, there's not much consequence, truth be told.
Yeah.
No, the question I would ask is, who needs to go?
Okay.
Who needs to go to make the world Star Trek world? I already have a pretty good idea of like one name that's at the top of the list. That one I don't need to be told, but I'd be like, okay, who needs to go?
Yeah, I can think about like 7 or 8 of them that will fit that bill, to be honest, right now. But oh well.
If I know that getting rid of, let's say the name goes, here's 25 names, and I'm like, if I know that getting rid of those 25 names makes a perfect future for humanity, I'm like, okay, cool. I'll bite the bullet on this one. I will form a team.
Yeah, you'll be Kira for the new world.
No, that's a different thing altogether.
You'll be what Kira thought he was.
Oh, I don't like that. No, I don't like that comparison at all, Rick. It doesn't work.
Sure.
I'm not trying to change the world. I'm just trying to get rid of, again, I am being given knowledge that says if I get rid of these people, and the problem is the actual answer would probably be in the thousands, in which case it's an impossibility and I'd give up. But if the list was like less than 100, it's like, that's probably doable.
Sure.
And that again, Star Trek world is perfect unity among humanity, which is something I think everyone should strive for.
Post-scarcity, where humans, well, the people that live in human society essentially only work because the thing that they work for is something that they are passionate about.
Yeah, I guess I should compare it more to the Orville, because I've actually watched that, but Orville is just Star Trek with the serial numbers filed off.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is the Orville is only like 3 seasons. I think it's getting its 4th, whereas Star Trek is 700, and there's fucking different captains and different bits of the timeline, so it's like, it takes a lot more effort. Anyway, I digress. That's what I'd use it for. If the list of names is just like impossibly long, because honestly, that's a realistic chance, it's like, okay, cool, this is just not doable with humanity in its current state, so I'm just going to give up, be happy with what I can do with what I've got. It was a list of like 100 or less. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool, let's do this.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
what
that's
you,
pretty
Rick?
good actually. I too would use it once, and depending on how well I dealt with the blinding headache of 24 hours, might use it again in the future. But the first thing I would use it for is essentially something to give me a Nobel Prize. I'd ask it a fundamental science question to which there is to which there will be an answer, but humanity does not yet know it.
Which is?
Well, I can't think of one right now.
Okay. The problem is you need to know the question before you can ask it.
Yeah, so here's one. Like, what happened to the where is the so-called dark matter in the universe? The matter that we assume is there, but we don't know where it is.
And more importantly, how can I prove to other people that it is actually there so they don't think I'm a crazy person?
Yeah, that's part of it. I think the implication is that the 24 hours of blinding headache are it searing extra knowledge from your question into your mind so you don't
Rick,
forget it.
You can't add extra caveats to the question after you've asked the question and the other person's answered it to tailor suit your needs. No, fuck you. You have to have 2 headaches.
Yep, get 2 headaches. Okay.
I want to point out, like, even with mine, I would probably use the hat more than once because I'd probably need to ask the hat follow-up questions, assuming I have to follow through with my plan of being like, okay, how do I get rid of this guy? Because that's part of it. And if the list is 100, that's 100 plus headaches. That's going to be hell. But it's something I've put myself through.
Yeah, that's going to be a year of headaches of like 1 day on, 2 days off doing things. But yes, today we're talking about the most memorable reboots. Devon has already told me that he doesn't have an honourable mention, so I will reveal my honourable mention, which is the Star Wars Special Editions. There was a time of life where Star Wars kind of went away for a bit, and around 1997, the 20th anniversary of A New Hope, they brought them back as special editions. They weren't edited that much, but I think it's close enough to the original thing and not changed enough to not make the main list.
Are you telling me that this version here didn't have the Wimmy Wham Wazzle?
It didn't have the Wim Wham Wazzle. It didn't have Jabba.
I'm sorry. I still can't believe that's a fucking change George felt he needed.
Yeah, the freaking ooh me te na.
Now, here's the thing. I love that scene in isolation. I think it's very funny, but it's so fucking out of nowhere and pointless in Jedi.
Yeah, and it's very obviously added because it's like very obvious CGI from like the late 90s compared to, you know, the practical effect that the rest of Star Wars is known for.
Yeah. Again,
or
very
was known
funny.
For at the time.
Incredibly enjoyable. Should not have been in the movie.
No. Like, because I can't think of what they actually added to Empire Strikes Back. Because obviously, the original A New Hope, they changed the banthas from elephants into like CGI banthas. They gave the stormtroopers dewbacks, and Jabba was a thing.
They added in the bonk to that one stormtrooper who hit his head.
Did they?
Yeah.
Just the sound effect of the bonk.
Yeah, because it used to be a little fucking thing that you tell your mates on the playground. It's like, oh, if you watch Star Wars, there's a stormtrooper and he just fucking twats himself in the head while walking under a thing. And it hasn't been a little thing you could just spot for ages because they added a sound effect. It literally just goes bonk like it's a fucking episode of Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. But yeah, there was a time when they went away and then a time when they came back. So yeah, the actual list. What's going to be your number 5 most memorable reboot, rehash, re-release?
Yeah, so I've counted remakes in my
remakes.
list.
Remakes. That was the other re.
So yeah, my number 5 is Magnificent 7. Both versions of Magnificent 7. 2016 is obviously a remake of the classic 1960 version, but something that more people have begun to appreciate nowadays, but not everyone realises, is also a remake. It's a remake of Seven Swords from Japan.
Yeah, sweet. Okay.
So here's the thing that, again, I think enthusiasts and people who are a fan of these types of movies already know this, but samurai movies and cowboy movies are basically the same genre.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, they were contemporaries that people like to forget.
They were and they weren't. Classic samurai were not around during cowboys, but the samurai class was still a thing during the cowboy era. Theoretically, a samurai could send a fax to a cowboy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let that sink in, guys. It's one of those tidbits that people like to throw around because it's like so silly. But yeah, the timeline does actually add up. But yeah, the samurai of the late 1800s were nothing like the samurai of like the Sengoku Jedi period.
No, absolutely not.
And also they had guns.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, so by the time it got to the crossover period that we're talking about, the theoretical crossover period, yes, they were rifle samurai, not so much sword samurai.
Well, they had to carry swords, otherwise they weren't allowed to be called samurai.
Sure, yeah. The sword was a trapping of rank, not a weapon of war.
I mean, say that to the fucking Last Stand of Shirayama, but okay.
Sure,
anyway,
okay.
yeah, it's one of those. But anyway, anyway, yeah, Magnificent Seven is a great movie. It's a great culmination of just cowboy in cinema. I remember having a discussion with one of my friends, a mutual friend, in fact, and I was like, have you seen Magnificent Seven? It's a great film. And they were like, yeah, I really like The Gambler. And I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you're talking about. And I think he just got it confused with another Western movie.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, it's great. The set dressing is great in both films. I think the more modern remake, the one from 2016, is a bit over the top and takes a few too many liberties, because like they've got Gatling guns and shit in it, but it is more entertaining.
Okay, yeah. Like even if you turn your brain off and just enjoy it, then yeah, I guess.
Well, it's also got, I believe it's got Denzel Washington as the lead character, and anything with Denzel Washington as the lead character is going to be good.
Cool.
Yeah, they've got a great cast in the remake. Even Chris Pratt does a good job.
Sweet.
But yeah, I'm trying to fucking stretch this out and explain things, but I'm guessing you've not seen either movie.
I have seen neither movie, no. The only Western that I have seen is pretty much Blazing Saddles.
I knew we were going to say Blazing Saddles, and it killed the genre.
Yes.
So it's not really a Western movie.
No.
Rick, what's your number 5?
Yeah, it's the nail in the coffin of Westerns. Number 5 is something that we've both seen and something that we both liked. DuckTales.
Ooh.
Yes, DuckTales. Ooh. It's the what's his name?
David Tennant.
Yes, the David Tennant as Scrooge McDuck, but also Huey, Dewey, and Louie actually have different personalities and everything. So, like, we were both pretty high on this version of DuckTales as being, a little bit more nuanced and having, like, actually stuff to do.
Well, the old school versions of Huey, Dewey, and Louie were meant to literally just be, here's the plot this week, Huey, Dewey, and Louie fucked up.
Yeah. So yeah, this was one where we did a comparison with the old version, and the new version just really does hold up, to the point that if the old one wasn't there, I think if they made the old one today with the old production values, people would just still prefer the new one.
Yeah, no shit. Like that's an incredibly unfair thing to say.
Yeah. Oh well.
If they made the old one with today's production values, I think the old one is slightly better. But that's just me. But saying the old one with the old production, yeah, no shit. It came out in the fucking 90s.
Yeah. But yeah, DuckTales, my number 5. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Space Jam: A New Legacy from 2021. Mostly because it's nowhere near as bad as everyone thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, fair enough. Like I know the thing that people moaned about when it was announced was that Lola Bunny got fan services.
No, I don't think anyone complained about that apart from the furry community, aka the fucking Gooners.
Yeah, the Gooner community.
Her design didn't even change that much. Like, I think people in their brain confused the original Lola Bunny design with the fucking over-the-top, giant-tittied version that all the fucking porn artists drew.
Yep. Like, well, even so, like she was, it's more in how she was animated rather than how she was drawn.
Oh, big whoop! You could apply that to any character then.
True.
I think Lola Bunny's redesign was actually pretty good because she looked more like an athletic woman than a fucking, just here's Bugs Bunny with tits and blonde.
Yep.
But again, she wasn't that. I mean, it's been a while since I watched OG Space Jam, I'll admit. But like, she had a redesign in the Looney Tunes cartoon as well, and she just looked like a bit of a ditz. Like,
I do love the Looney Tunes cartoon Lola. She's a completely different character. I love that incarnation of her.
Yeah, I've never actually watched an episode. I just know her design because I've seen pictures of it, so I can't speak for her characterization. In the Looney Tunes, the Space Jam: A New Legacy, like she was training with Wonder Woman and shit. Like, she was pretty cool. I did like the designs of the new Monstars as well.
Okay.
They weren't actually Monstars. They were like cartoonized bullshit video game versions of proper NBA players.
Right, okay.
Which is a cool new twist to put. Like, the movie had legs. It had cool ideas. Still think the OG is way better, but it was a good... Did you watch the new Space Jam?
I've not seen the new one, no.
Jesus Christ. I think everything on my list is going to be like, did you see this? No? Fuck. Yeah, it was great. The actual basketball scene was the best because it was... they just went all out with the fan service where the audience was just made up of Warner Brothers characters from bygone eras.
Excellent. Yeah. I think I actually have seen some shots of this, like, just out in the crowd, and it's just all old fan service links. Yeah.
Well, not just old and new. I'm just saying, like, you've got characters from, like, the 50s that no fucker's going to remember remember, but someone will be like, oh my god, it's Squiggly Wiggly.
It's Glop Shitto.
Well, yeah, I've got Shitto for Warner Brothers. Like, I remember even freaking out because I had Godzilla in the audience, and I'm like, they don't own that character, do they?
Well, Warner Brothers is actually bigger than you think. Like,
no, I understand that, but Godzilla is owned by Toho and
Sure.
lent to Legendary, and I don't think Legendary is owned by Warner Brothers.
Yeah, maybe not. They might have a publishing deal for like releasing stuff, but I don't know.
But like, there was even a minute-long sketch with Rick and Morty in the fucking in the movie, which I didn't expect either. So it could just be that people were like, "Hey, do you want your character to be used in Space Jam?" And most studios were like, "Yeah, okay. There's probably no drawbacks to this."
Yeah, fair enough.
The best joke of the movie is I can't remember. I think it was Daffy Duck who's like, "Don't worry, guys. I've got him. I've got Michael Jordan." And LeBron James, I think it's LeBron James, who's the new basketball player in Space Jam, is just like, "Great, really?" And it just zooms in and it's Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Which is a great fucking gag. And I love as well, Michael B. Jordan's just like, I told you like 5 times on the way here, I'm not that Michael Jordan.
Yup.
So, you know, there was some good stuff. I honestly recommend perhaps watching this on the channel one day, because I think it's a pretty decent reboot. I know it got a lot of shit, but honestly, it could have been 10 times worse.
Sure. Yeah, cool.
So what's your number 4?
My number 4 is the Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale Batman trilogy.
Yeah, okay.
So before this, it was, what was it, Val Kilmer Batman stuff, like the Eyes to See You ones.
That was George Clooney.
George Clooney. Okay. Yeah, the George Clooney ones. Yeah, these ones, the Christopher Nolan directing Christian Bale as Bruce trilogy, were, in my opinion, like an outlier in that Marvel at the time were running away with movies, and DC were just not respected at all because none of them were good. And Batman was, as usual, the outlier in that Batman's always good.
That is not true.
Okay. Batman is usually good. You can usually rely on Batman to be the best of a bad lot.
Oh, well, bugger me. Dark Knight came out in 2008, which, Batman Begins was 2005. That was well before Marvel. That was like 3 years before Iron Man came out in 2008. So Dark Knight would have came out the same year as Iron Man.
Okay. Because I know it was I know the first one was a contemporary of, I believe, X-Men 3.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, but okay, so the MCU wasn't around yet, but before we knew that there was a big divide between X-Men and other Marvel things, people like me thought everything was meant to be connected eventually.
But also, I know I didn't know what we were going to get, but I didn't think the X-Men films were good.
I thought the first one was good.
There's nostalgia for it now. I didn't care for it at the time.
I thought the first one was good. I thought the second one existed, and the third one happened.
I can't even remember the second one.
Yeah, the second one is like Stryker, and it introduces Nightcrawler.
Okay. Now, conversely, I really enjoyed the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, I liked those. The first one was great. The second one was possibly the best of the 3, and then the third one happened.
Listen, the third one treated the source material that I cared about with respect, so I enjoyed it for that. I understand it was not a well-received movie, but I remember Rip being like, yeah, this is good. This is how I envision this. I think the guy who plays Eddie Brock should probably be a bit more jacked, but whatever.
Yeah. So they set it up very well to have the same story told again in No Way Home.
I mean, sort of.
But yeah, the Christian Bale Batmans very different to Batmans that we've had before. But yeah, they're very iconic for me in particular.
I didn't actually watch the Bane one, so
that's the only one that I've seen twice.
Weird.
Yeah. But then again, the Joker one, they could have made that into 2 movies. It was very long.
Well, they couldn't, could they?
Okay. After the fact, no. But they could have made it into like a Joker movie and a Two-Face movie and just had it as like a question and answer arc. But yeah.
Okay. Rick, it's very clear that you haven't seen old Batman movies, because every old Batman movie has 2 villains.
Sure. Okay. But yes, that's my number 4. Who's going to be your number 3?
Number 3 is arguably the best reboot of all time, in my opinion, and that is Beast Wars from 1996.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, good old Transformers Beast Wars.
It's my favourite version of Transformers. It's unarguably a reboot because it was so different from what came before. It is so iconically mid-90s 3D.
Even using the word reboot, that's exactly the kind of CGI that it was. But like that little bit more advanced because reboot was like a few years before.
This is that reboot. Little bit further I keep forgetting it's even a thing.
Yeah, it was very rudimentary 3D. Beast Wars was that bit more advanced. There's a bit more shine and sheen to it.
Jesus Christ, that is an indictment of reboot then, because Beast Wars looks like shit. I want to point out, at the time, I was mind blown. My mind was blown, and I still think it's a great series, but looking at it, it's like, oh god, it's not aged well at all. Visually.
Yeah. It's one of these weird ones where, like, as a kid, you know that something doesn't look fantastic. However, you also know by the same token that, oh man, this whole thing is CGI. They're doing it every week. Toy Story was CGI. Oh man, this is so impressive.
This predated Toy Story.
Actually, Toy Story was 1995, wasn't it? Yeah.
Was it? I thought Toy Story was 1998.
That's Toy Story 2.
Toy Story 2 came out after 2000.
Well, Toy Story 1 was 95.
Okay, I won't argue with you. Toy Story 1 also took like 7 years to make.
Yeah.
I exaggerate for effect.
They spent a lot of time rendering each individual frame.
I mean, better than that is I absolutely love the Monsters Inc. story of like, so we had to have a server running for about 24 hours a day, 6 days a week, just to render Sully's hair for one scene.
Yeah. And the worst part is, like, sometimes it would glitch and all the hair would stand on end and they have to do the whole thing again.
Well, yeah, but they put those in the bloopers, so they got something out of it.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, no, even at the time, I didn't think... Like, you got to bear in mind, I was 4 when this came out. I didn't see Toy Story in the cinema when it first came out. I was 3. So it might explain why I thought Toy Story came out way later than it actually did. Like, 1998 may have been when I actually saw it on, like, VHS or some shit.
Okay.
I'm just guessing in that regard. But yeah, I remember being I thought in 1996 that, oh yeah, everything's going to look like this in the future because this is the pinnacle of animation. Obviously, I didn't think of it in that terms. I was 4. But yeah, looking back at it, it's like, ooh. It probably did look decent in 1996, but in 2025, this looks like ass.
Yeah, we're glad people moved back to using pens. Even if it's a digital pen.
Although, that said, it did have the saving grace of, because it looked the way that it did, it means the fucking toys looked perfect.
Yeah! They could, like, literally take the model that they sent to the toy factory and, like, put that into the animation slides, without all the screw holes and all that.
Whereas it was honestly the other way around.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, otherwise, it would just be fucking Robot Chicken before Robot Chicken. I very nearly said Rooster Teeth, Rick.
Yeah. Man, like, remember thinking about toys in shows like this. Remember when, like, they got to, like, Thunder Zords and Ninja Zords in Power Rangers, and it was literally, they just lower a toy into Titanus.
What? No, Rick, because you watched way more Power Rangers than I did.
Yeah, it was daft.
Rick, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is just 4 letters, SPOP. She-Ra and the Princess of Power.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's so different from the original, it's hard to even think of it as a reboot.
Yeah, reboot, remake, reimagining. It's the only thing it has really in common is the fact that it's got the same source material.
Set in Etheria.
Yeah, it's set in Etheria. The characters have got the same names. It's owned by Mattel. It's just better in every way. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to anybody who likes the old one. I'm not sorry to anybody that doesn't like the new one. Yeah, it's one of my most beloved pieces of animation from the past, like, 10 years. And, I think it's time for me to rewatch it again before it disappears off of Netflix.
They've been threatening to take it off Netflix since time immemorial. It still hasn't happened.
Yeah, but we're having the DreamWorks apocalypse as things, like, slowly erode away from Netflix.
Yeah, but the question is, do they care about the actual TV shows, or do they only care about their movies?
Well, they took Voltron away.
Here's the thing, Rick, because I don't care about Voltron. It's a stupid mecha show.
Sure. But we're coming up on 5 years since She-Ra had its last episode, so
She-Ra had its last episode in 2019.
Wasn't it 2020? Okay.
I might be wrong. Here's the thing, Rick, as I'm going off memories. I could have sworn it said 2019 on IMDb, but I very much could be wrong.
No worries. But yeah, She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, my number 3. What's your number 2?
I like how it's just like, here's my number 3. I'm not going to go into depth on it because we both watched She-Ra.
We both watched it. We both loved it. We both talked about it multiple times on multiple different retrospectives.
It spawned the retrospective, more or less.
Pretty much did. Like, it was like the second or third review that we did as well. That was when we were going to watch episode.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. It was really early on though. Like, we watched episode 1, and you were like, "Yeah, should we watch episode 2?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it."
It was like a few months in, though. It wasn't episode 1 or 2, that's for sure.
It wasn't episode 1 or 2, but it was really early, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, it was early. It was pre-episode 20, but that's still like half a year, almost half a year of podcast, Rick.
Sure, fair enough. But yes, your number 2.
My number 2 is Godzilla 1998.
1998 Godzilla. So this is going to be the Western one, right?
Yeah, the American one.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Rick. I remember a sweet fuck all about this movie, apart from people saying it was really, really bad. What I do remember about this movie is the super hyper-aggressive ad campaign.
Yeah.
Even as a child, I'm like, oh wow, they're really pushing this. This thing was mental. There was adverts for it constantly on the TV. There were adverts for it everywhere in London, probably in other cities around the world as well, but London is my closest. The fucking merch for this thing. Boy, we didn't really do novelty cups and popcorn things in the UK, but we did for this movie.
Yeah. Like, we do have popcorn now, or rather, we have bespoke popcorn things now, but back then we kind of didn't.
It also depends what cinema chain you go to, and this and that, and whether you even have it now. Has to be a really big release. Like, the last one I remember doing it was, like, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, I got one for Lilo and Stitch.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Commemorate that shitty movie.
I got a bin. It's now used as a bin in the bathroom. So
where it fucking belongs. Anyway.
Yeah. The one that I remember in recent memory though is the Dune one with the danger mouth.
Sure. Yes, Godzilla. Most Godzilla fans slammed this film. It was so poor it made Toho go, we need to make a new movie.
Oh yeah. Just to show up the crap Godzilla.
It's been condemned as not being Godzilla by Toho, so much so that in the next Godzilla movie, a creature that looks exactly like the Godzilla from this movie appears. It's called Zilla instead of Godzilla, and it gets fucking one-shot by actual Godzilla because it's so shit.
Yeah.
And you also have a bit of dialogue between two Japanese people, because of course they're Japanese, it's Godzilla, saying, didn't America have a Godzilla attack recently? And it's like, no, they didn't. They thought it was Godzilla, but it's not Godzilla. Constantly
it was barely
being
even a
shit on.
kaiju. Yeah.
Well, that's just it. Like, if you want to have King Kong versus Godzilla, like, this version of Godzilla is probably a pretty good version to have, because it's about the same size.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
From memory, anyway. But yeah, the merch for this movie was insane. I remember I was always looked on in it. There's something I used to play with in Woolworths, because that's how long ago this was, and I would never get it, because there's no way I'm getting bought this. It was literally just a glove puppet of Godzilla's head, but like made of rubber, so it looked really like the head from the movie. And if you pressed inside the mouth in the right position, it made it do the roar, which is not Godzilla's roar either.
Yeah, I remember those days though. Like, instead of going to the shops and buying toys, it would be, how do I waste some time this afternoon? I'm going to go to Woolworths, look at a toy that I can't afford, and then leave.
Yeah, I think most people universally agree that Godzilla 1998 is a bad Godzilla movie. There are people who defend this based solely on nostalgia, and I get it. Nostalgia's a powerful drug, but this is not a good movie, allegedly.
Yeah,
again,
true.
I can't remember it, and if I saw this as like a 6-year-old and I can't remember it, it means it probably wasn't exciting.
Yeah, it's it's infamous.
Yes, Rick, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is another thing that we have both reviewed, seen some of. I've seen more of it than you have. It is My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. It was a big shift from Generation 3 to Generation 4. So much so that it's almost unrecognizable.
I mean, it's even unrecognizable from its fucking successor as well.
Yeah, like the thing that came after it, the Make Your Mark one that we've also seen quite a lot of, reviewed quite a lot of, and in fact we've there was a point until very recently I think we'd basically done all of it.
Yeah, well, that was until we realised that they stopped halfway through season 1 to make more episodes, and I hate it when Netflix does this, where it's like, cool, we're going to release half the season now and release the other half of the season later, and it's like, it's just to fucking extend people's subs, and it's something that Disney kind of started, and like, Netflix is just awful now.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, full credit to Lauren Faust for breathing life into what was otherwise probably just going to be a toy ad. Putting so much more heart into it, giving jaded adolescent autistic men something to actually believe in.
I do remember there being an interesting article of like 60-year-old women getting pissed off that men were allowed in the hobby, and it's just like, dude, it's a fucking cartoon, chill out.
Yeah, exactly. I do remember going to someone's house for like board games, and I saw My Little Ponies on the windowsill, and they were the new ones, and the people there were like my age. And I'm like, oh man, cool, and she just went, fucking bronies. Oh man, yeah. I mean, then it was looked down upon.
Well, yeah, because 90% of bronies are actually insufferable.
Oh yeah, they're not fun. They're not great people to be around, and yeah, they need to chill.
I mean, like the Bob's Burgers episode really encapsulated it wonderfully. Where it's like, yeah, there's some chill adults who are interested in this and will maybe go to conventions and be like, oh, I will buy this limited edition bullshit Fucktron 2000, and then you got the creepy person who's scamming children out of their toys.
Yeah, and the ones that you interact with will invariably be the weird ones.
Maybe.
But yeah, that's my number 2. Something we both enjoyed. Well, just to different degrees. What's going to be your ultimate pick for today? Your number 1 most memorable reboot, remake, and reimagining?
It's most memorable because it's almost universally despised, and I gave this show a fucking shot, and it's not good. It is, of course, Teen Titans Go.
Yeah. We gave it as fair of a shake as we could.
Oh, I don't think you did, but I certainly did. I've watched seasons of this, and very early on, I was like, yeah, it's not Teen Titans. I don't like it. It's crap. But I don't think the audience is like the old Teen Titans fans. I think it's for the TikTok generation, for lack of a better word. Why else would it be 10 minutes and so fucking autistic? Yeah,
it's the twerking generation. Yeah,
like it's for real. Like there's a new fucking plot point every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And also, the show has Robin as its punching bag, and I fucking hate it.
Yeah, and like it just completely throws away Cyborg as a character. He's just a clown. Like having Beast Boy as a bit of a clown was okay because he was sometimes goofy, and sometimes he wasn't because he would calm down and have an introspective moment. But like overall, he is a more upbeat guy, whereas Cyborg was very rarely super upbeat in the original. Like, yes, he would be confident and he would say booyah now and again, but that wasn't all he would do.
Okay, counterpoint though, Cyborg was very boring in original Teen Titans.
True. But at least he didn't end up, singing poo in the toilet, poo poo in the toilet.
But they use that as the ad campaign for the goddamn show too.
They do, it's so weird.
So it's one of those where, like, if you haven't watched this show and that's the advertisement for it, I think it's a very good way of going, hey, are you over the age of 6? This ain't for you, bro.
Yep.
And the most frustrating thing about it as well is they have mini arcs where they do weird things that are actually decent. There are gems in the rough here. They did this retro synth arc which lasted about 6 episodes where they changed the art style and everything, and yeah, the plot was still nonsense and silly, but it was interesting in like there's something here, and I guess the animators and the team in general were just they were just told by Cartoon Network, hey, go mental for an arc, and they're like, okay, we will.
Is that the one where they changed it not to the old cartoon style, but to like the comic style from before that?
No.
Okay, I'm thinking of a different. I might be just thinking of a sketch rather than a few episodes or something.
You've heard of synthwave, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that, but in art.
Okay.
I do remember there was an episode where they literally animated them in the old cartoon style, the like mid 2000s style, and they were like, "Oh, we used to be so cool." So, who is this episode for? Is it just taking the piss out of people who wanted more of the old thing? Because it felt incredibly mean spirited. And again, you know me, Rick. I used to go to bat for this show, where I was like, okay, it's not Teen Titans, it's a silly new thing. I think whatever. whatever, you can probably enjoy this for what this is if you turn your brain off. But then they just got annoyed at the fan base of the old thing, and it felt like they doubled down out of pettiness.
Yeah, it's a weird one in that regard. And the movie even has the post-credit scene where the original Teen Titans show up and go, "We're still here."
Well, I didn't watch the movie.
Yeah, just look up that scene on YouTube instead.
I'm not gonna. I don't care about this show enough to who gives a fuck. Hey, guess what? I'm gonna watch the DC animated series where we have the cool Robin and Cyborg's part of the fucking Justice League. So
yeah, fair enough.
Or,
okay,
we could watch Justice League Dark where Raven just fucking hangs out with Constantine.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rick, what's your number one?
My number one, it's kind of a tie because this thing got remade twice, similar to your number 5. The original being from the 1930s, 1932, The Mummy. So The Mummy got remade in the 90s with Brendan Fraser and got remade in 2019 as well with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, the one where no one fucking watched it.
Yeah, and it quite rightly and quite deservedly put a nail in the coffin of Universal's plans at a Monsterverse.
I was going to say, that was meant to kickstart the Monsterverse, and it just didn't fucking happen.
Yeah, because they started with something that nobody wanted.
The fucking nerve of them downgrading from Brendan Fraser to Tom Cruise. Like, Brendan Fraser... Now, bear in mind, he's had a recent resurgent success with The Whale, which I've not seen, but he got plenty of awards and nods for it. But, like, Brendan Fraser used to be a beloved comedy actor.
Yeah. And I think he's younger than Tom Cruise.
He'd have to be, wouldn't he?
Like, I think he is. Like, so
Tom Cruise has been doing,
weird.
like, Mission Impossible since the 90s, and he was, like, 30 then.
Yeah, like, he's definitely in his 60s now, and he looks it, but like it's just so weird that they chose to replace an existing like incumbent series that's like beloved, and okay, not all of them are bangers, but like it's there and it's in recent memory and you can just go watch it right now with something that's just crap.
Correct me if I'm wrong, did The Mummy not fucking... One of the worst things The Mummy did, if I'm correct, is spawn the fucking Scorpion King.
It did.
Fuck you for that.
Yeah, so the Scorpion King was he was a villain in, like, I think The Mummy 2.
That sounds about right.
And then he got his own spin-off movie where he wasn't just straight up the villain, because he was like, he had to be the hero of it. But yeah, he gave us
Johnson began.
He gave us the CGI Scorpion King, which is one of the funniest things. Oh boy.
I've got to be honest with you, Rick, I've not actually seen the Brendan Fraser Mummy films because I was too young when they came out. But what I do remember is we were walking back to the car at one point, and it's like, you know, when you're a child and you have a child bladder and you're like, I need to wee. Now, in the old cinema, they used to have the toilet at the back of the actual screen, so you didn't have to leave to the lobby to go to the toilet. But it meant if you came off the street, you couldn't just use the bogs. So you'd go up and ask really nicely, can I use your toilet? And it's a fucking teenager manning the booth, and they're like, okay. So you walk in. Unfortunately, The Mummy was playing, and some scene happened where something grotesque with scarabs was occurring, and I remember it scarred me for a solid 6 months.
Yeah, there's a lot of scarabs in, especially the first movie. And they'll like go under your skin, and like, yeah, it was. Now,
I want to point out, I literally got the briefest of glimpse as I was going to use because I saw the screen for a split second before turning off, and it's like, oh my god, I hate life.
Yep, I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Yeah. So yes, all of mine, other than this, have been unequivocally positive. This one is kind of halfy because on the one side there's the Brendan Fraser one, on the other side there's the Tom Cruise one, both of which are essentially remakes of the 1932 one.
I wouldn't call them remakes; they probably could be called reimagination.
Yeah, reimaginings. Like they're based off it rather than just like straight up like redos and sequels and what have you.
Maybe we should do that for Halloween this year. The like original 1930s versions of classic monster films.
Yeah, fair enough.
So like Nosferatu. Well, maybe not Nosferatu because that's a knockoff, but the original Dracula, the original Mummy, Creature from the Black Lagoon, etc.
I think the original Nosferatu's actor is called Shrek.
The actor's called Shrek?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Do you mean the actor for Count Olaf?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not saying you're wrong, I just don't know.
Yeah, I think it's like Schreck, so 2 C's.
Okay, but he was German, so it probably wasn't pronounced Shrek. Shrek?
I think it is literally just Shrek. Yeah.
Okay, fine, whatever. I don't actually care, Rick.
That's fine. It's my Shrek lore of the day, yeah.
Unconfirmed Shrek lore, because it's just you spouting bullshit.
It's unconfirmed Shrek lore because, I'm vaguely remember something that may or may not be true. But yeah, that's not a bad idea, actually.
Which is the nonsense review way.
Oh, yes. It's like it's the Sean Locke thing of Google can go fuck itself. Like, the fact that you can just semi-confidently say something that you know might be bullshit is like the very spirit of British banter, isn't it?
You're allowed to think what you want. I'm allowed to think you're wrong.
Sure. But yes, that's our top 5s of remakes, rehashes, and reboots. If you like the video, in the comment section down below on YouTube, tell us any that you thought were massively memorable that we may have missed. I'm sure there are many that we've also missed, good and bad. If you don't have the comment section, you can instead send us an email saying something similar to
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
And yes, so it's going to be a goodbye from me.
We will see you next week, guys.